goes.
What happens if they lose the next 3 or 4, and I mean get trucked? The defense is getting worn down and banged up. What happens if that happens? If Green Bay comes in here and just crushes you, what happens?
And then you play the Vikings the next week. The offense has to be able to look better and has to have a much better imagination than what we've seen, because there is no excuse for the Bears to lose that game. It's one of the worst losses that we've seen from the Bears in a long time. It's one thing to outdumb the room against the Colts, 12-7, running Doug Kramer in there and the fumble. It's one thing to just not have attention to detail for the Washington game with the Hail Mary. But it's just this game here, last Sunday, was the last winnable game that the Bears have on the schedule. And you fumbled it, and you trickled it down your leg against a team that's trying to lose, trying to get the number 1 pick. There's pride there with New England, I'm sure. But the point is, though, is that at home, big spot, it was time for you to turn it around to have momentum going into the Green Bay Packer game. And the Bears are regressing offensively. That's one of the reasons why Shane Waldron does not have a job today.
Well said on every single level. Now, is Thomas Brown going to be the, as they like to say, the panacea for everything that ails the Bears offense? Well, he was trained under Sean McVay. He was the tight ends, running backs, and assistant head coach when they won the Super Bowl in L.A., but his one foray as a play caller was with Bryce Young. It didn't go well in Carolina, but he'll get a second shot, and we'll see what happens the rest of the way. As I watch the All-22, and again, I got to sit down and watch, but I went through the sacks quickly. Of the 9 sacks, 5 or 6 are on Caleb. They are. It's just a fact. Ball's got to get out, whether it's a completion or not. Like Shay and I were watching one, you can't have the ball in field goal range and take a sack all the way back to the 39-yard line and go, we got a punt. You can't do it. How many times have we seen that happen this year? So hopefully Thomas Brown and he can get a room together and figure this stuff out with DJ and some of the veteran guys that are there and get this thing moving in the right direction. Because right now, it's a train wreck. Eberflus has had 3 offensive coordinators. He's fired 2 coaches for misconduct. The team is in crisis, whether he wants to admit that or not, and yet he's still standing there.
He's just moving the chairs around because he knows that the axe is coming. He's about the guillotine for this offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron. He knows it's coming, Cap.
What's the game we played as kids? We'd be at a party. What is it called? Musical chairs.
Yes.
That's what he's doing until the chair for him gets pulled out. That's it.
The music will start playing. The music will stop. He wants to sit down, and he's going to fall on his ass.
He's going to have no chair. Sorry, coach. It's your turn. You're out.
And he's just playing survival mode right now, Cap.
Correct.
He knows. He knows. We're not saying anything that the audience doesn't know or that the Bears don't know. We know what's coming here at the end of the season.
Yeah, there's no shot that he's back. None.
So this whole firing with Shane Waldron also tells me that Eberflus will be here for the end of the year. There's not going to be what we want as far as the in-season firing with Matt Eberflus. No, that's not happening. At the end of the year, Black Monday, whenever the last regular season game is done, that'll be all for Matt Eberflus.
What happens if they lose the next 3 or 4, and I mean get trucked? The defense is getting worn down and banged up. What happens if that happens? If Green Bay comes in here and just crushes you, what happens?
And then you play the Vikings the next week.
Okay, and you get crushed again. And then you play Detroit, and you're like, oh, God. And then you go to San Francisco. Oh, my goodness. Like, they're just going to keep rolling this guy out there?
Absolutely.
And we're going to keep talking to him on Mondays?
Absolutely. I just, it is just amazing that here we are again where the Chicago Bears are in flux. I mean, it's just when you believe that the team is going to turn the corner. And in some ways they have, but the results, again, are not there. It's not one of those things where the Bears added one free agent and that's just going to turn things around. And, boy, look, they have a commitment to winning. The commitment is there as far as some of the things that Ryan Poles has done. But once again, just like last year, we're talking about a rickety offensive line, a quarterback that can't get out of his own way, and an offense that's stalling. Once again, I did not expect the world and the stars this year, Cap, when it came to Caleb Williams. When you brought up the phrase and coined the phrase chasing greatness was not necessarily about chasing greatness for 17 weeks and then get to exactly where you need to be. Chasing greatness is to be able to continue to get better as a franchise, being led by Caleb Williams. That's my definition of your phrase, chasing greatness. Chasing greatness is you're on your way. That means that you're ascending to a great spot as a Chicago Bears franchise. For all the goodwill from Hard Knocks to the beginning of the season to where we are right now, it is amazing how night and day it is. It's night and day.
It's unbelievable.
The whole thing, Cap, is not necessarily all on the Bears. It's just about looking at the NFC. Look how these teams have passed you up like cars on the expressway, where you were on the way with your 3-game winning streak, and now cars are just passing you up on the expressway. Now you're behind. Now your 9 wins I had for you is not – you can't even get on the L with those 9 wins. You can't even do that because the 9 wins, if you even get there, is not even good enough to get to the playoffs.
Oh,
because you've kicked your own ass. This is what happened.
If you had to today pick the number of wins, what would you pick?
Well, they're at 4 now, so it feels like 7.
I don't even think they get there.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm going to give a high watermark, that would be 7.
Yeah, I would tell you they'll be lucky to win 6.
Yeah. And which means regression, that means firing for all.
Correct.
And so here we go again, going right back to square one.
Right back to square one, which, as you correctly said, should have been done last year.
And by the way, I would have preferred a new head coach and coaching staff, especially just to work with Caleb Williams, just for the head coach and the quarterback to go lock and step. Not have your first year, but let it be not a good first year, and then here comes a new head coach, a new regime, new offensive coordinator. It's like, so he's going to get 2 of these in 2 years. So now it's Jay Cutler all over again, because that's what's going to happen.
Correct.
I'm Nostradamus here. I'm just telling you, like, I could see the future that the Bears are going to be able to do this, where Caleb Williams is going to have to learn a whole new offense with new offensive coordinator, a new head coach, and a new way of doing business.
Correct.
This is it is the slippery slope that we continue to see as a Bears organization.
You know, if you told me you had some amazing head coach, John Harbaugh's your head coach, or Matt LaFleur, and you draft a new quarterback like Caleb, okay, our coach is going to be here for the foreseeable future. This guy? You stayed loyal to this guy. Okay.
It's Pole's guy.
Does not matter.
Oh, I know. You're telling me. I know it doesn't matter.
His bosses should have said, we don't have a Hall of Famer here. We've had our issues with him anyway.
All I kept hearing is
fresh start.
All I kept hearing about is that Eberflus is good in the room and that there's no issues at House Hall. And all I kept telling you and telling everybody else is that listen to the man speak. Is that a guy that commands the room? He might give his players a nickname, but that doesn't mean that he's coaching them well.
You're right. You are correct.
I mean, come on, brother.
You are correct. He may be the nicest man in the world. But guess what? You're correct.
All these other coaches being fired, Cap, under his leadership. I mean, if you're Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles, you see what's happening here. You might think that Eberflus is awesome on the golf course and great to have dinner with, but ultimately it's about results, man. The results are not there. You got to stop in this town talking about guys that you like. How about guys that can win? How about that for a change? The whole thing of like, oh, I like him because he's funny. I like him because he'll say anything. Boy, he's a great soundbite. How about a coach that can win, a manager that can win? I don't care if I don't like the guy or not, Cap. I don't care what kind of person he is. Can you win? As long as you're out of the police blotter and that you're winning ball games for my favorite teams, I couldn't care less. I don't need to like you. Just win.
So somebody said to me, if you had a, God forbid, major health crisis, and the first doctor walked in and you went, what a nice man. Oh, he's awesome. Yeah, he's okay as a doctor. And the next guy came in, it was just a raging jag. That guy's the best surgeon in the world. I'm taking the raging jag.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's a grizzled old veteran that may not like his life and knows he got to go to work like all the rest of us, but he gets the job done.
Or he has a tough demeanor,
yeah,
whatever it is.
But he just gets the job done.
Correct.
That's all I care about.
Stop trying to be comfortable at Hallis Hall.
But this is who they are. As if Ditka was such a major issue with the Bears. I understand that if he was gruff with the McCaskey family and didn't win. He gives us the greatest memories we've ever had as Bears fans. But they don't want that anymore. Oh, no. Can't have that anymore. these charter franchises that think they're just so damn smart, like the Dallas Cowboys in particular, and the Chicago Bears. So what's wrong with having a big personality as long as that big personality wins? Why does that matter?
Correct.
It's still nothing's bigger than the star there, and nothing's bigger than the Bears logo up there.
George would never have hired Ozzie Guillen. He would never have hired Joe Madden. That's just who he is.
Like bombastic or smart.
Right.
You don't want to have that. You've got opinions, don't you? Yeah. Yeah, because I think we could be better.
What do you think of the franchise? You guys suck. But I'll clean it up.
Yeah.
No, we want someone that we like to have dinner with.
That's it.
That's it.
So that's the story. Shane Waldron, fired by the Chicago Bears. We're talking to you about it. 312-332-3776 is our phone number. Lewis and Lyle, you've been listening. What do you think of Shane Waldron being fired right here on Cap and J Hood?
Guys, I was so happy that I was so visibly happy my boss was questioning what the heck made me so happy when he saw me. But you guys were just saying, regarding head coaches, the Bears, and everybody was saying this yesterday. I was listening to Shane when you were covering for Greeny. You guys said it. I think Waddle and Sylvie said it, Carmen and Yurko. I think I counted 128 instances of someone saying that the Bears don't want somebody who's going to be a quote-unquote character, or some kind of a character that might overshadow the franchise. Let's be honest. Let's just be upfront with what we're saying. George McCaskey seems to want a sycophant as a head coach because he wants to be the face of this franchise. And look, I think that I know that he loves his team. I have it on good authority that he loves his team.
Sure.
I think that George feels that because he shares the name, he has to be George Halas. There will only ever be one George Halas, and that's the way it should be. And there's nothing wrong with being George McCaskey, and he needs to realize that. I would love to be George McCaskey. I would love to be the owner of my favorite team that I got to grow up watching. All that George, he doesn't need a sycophant. He hired Ryan Poles. Ryan Poles came in and said, this whole organization is awful. I'm going to tear this down and build it back up. He can trust him to make the coaching hire and don't be afraid to hire somebody who is going to maybe go against the grain, maybe make you uncomfortable. If you're always comfortable, you're never going to get better. Like that applies to all aspects of life. And if you're worried about spending a little bit of money on a coach, that money's going to come back in through people buying merchandise. If you put together a good product, the money's going to roll in, regardless of how much you had to spend on a coach. And
Agreed.
Honestly, it is. I had it, and my brain just started moving, and I lost it. I'm sure it'll come back to me.
All good, man.
Today.
Have a great day, okay?
All right, my friend.
Appreciate you. Here, Kevin Fishbane tweeted this. Bears play callers since they fired Ron Turner because Cuddy didn't like him. Mike Martz, Mike Tice, Mark Trestman, Adam Gase, Dowell Loggins, Matt Nagy, Bill Lazor, back to Matt Nagy, back to Bill Lazor, Luke Getsy, Shane Waldron 11, Thomas Brown 12.
Yeah.
There's stability, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago Bears, stability.
You want to know why the Bears are in that spot? Is what you just read right there.
Yep, that's courtesy of Kevin Fishbane.
Offensive league and all these moving parts. You can never have continuity that way. Never can.